Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to talk about a really interesting project in the crypto space called Quai Network. And they're claiming to have solved one of the biggest, most fundamental puzzles in all of blockchain. Let's get into it.
Okay, so for basically as long as blockchains have been around, they've been stuck with this fundamental problem. It's often called the blockchain trilemma, and the idea is pretty simple. You have three things you want. You want speed, you want security, and you want decentralization. But you've always had to pick just two. I mean, think about it, right? You can build a network that's super fast and totally secure, but to get that speed, you usually have to centralize it, letting just a handful of powerful players run the show. Or you could go the other way. You can make something that's really secure and truly decentralized where anyone can participate. But the catch, it's usually painfully slow. There's always been this trade-off. So that's the setup. But what if you didn't have to choose? What if a totally new kind of architecture could just break that limitation? What if you could actually have a network with the speed of a global payment system, the rock-solid security of something like Bitcoin, and be completely decentralized? Well, that's exactly the problem Quai Network says it was built to solve. Okay, so how do they even begin to do that? Well, their solution is actually really elegant, and it all comes down to a simple but powerful idea. The solution is a tree. No, really, just picture it. Instead of a single long chain, imagine a blockchain that's structured just like a giant tree. It can grow absolutely massive, right? With tons of branches and leaves spreading out everywhere. But, and this is the key part, all of its strength, all of its security flows from one single unified trunk. So let's break that down. How does this blockchain tree actually work? It's all organized into three distinct layers, and each one has a very specific job. All right, let's look at the structure. At the very base, the foundation, you have the prime chain. That's the trunk of our tree. Its one and only job is to be the anchor, providing maximum security for the entire network. Then, growing out from that trunk, you've got the region chains. These are the big main branches, and they organize all the activity. And then, at the very edges, you have the zone chains. These are the leaves. This is where all the action is, you know? They're the workhorses processing all of our day-to-day transactions. Now, you might be thinking, haven't other blockchains tried to split up the work before? And yeah, they have. It's called sharding. But here's the problem with the old way of doing it. When you split the network into pieces, you also split the security. It's like instead of one giant fortress, you have 10 small guard towers. Each one is way easier to attack and take down. And this is where Quai's big breakthrough really shines. They use this really clever technique called merged mining. What that means is that all the parts of the tree, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, they're all being secured at the same time by the same miners. The work gets split up, but the security doesn't. So a tiny transaction happening way out on one of the leaves, it gets the full 100% security of the entire tree. It's a total game changer. Okay, so unified security. That's the big secret sauce. But what does all this tree stuff actually mean for you and me, the end users? Well, it translates into some absolutely incredible performance. Let's look at the numbers. First up, speed. Quai can handle over 50,000 transactions per second. Just to give you some perspective, that's not just fast for crypto, that's faster than Viva. We're talking global scale throughput right out of the box. And what about cost? This is huge. Transaction fees are designed to stay under 1 cent. And that's not just some promotional thing for launch. The whole system is built so that fees stay that low, even when the network is handling billions of users. Insanely cheap. And finally, how responsive is it? You know that feeling of waiting for a transaction to go through? Well, on those zone chains, the leaves where we're all doing our thing, blocks get confirmed in about 5 seconds. So it's basically instant. Click, done. And when you put it all side by side like this, wow, you put Quai's numbers up against a giant like Ethereum, and the difference is just, it's stark. You can see it right there. Throughput is orders of magnitude higher, and you can see why. It's that completely different sharded architecture, and its focus on an evolved proof of work, which, is the same security model as Bitcoin. It's a fundamentally different approach, and it leads to these wildly different results. Okay, but the innovation here isn't just about the tech and the structure. Quai also has this really unique two-token economy that powers the whole thing. This is a pretty cool idea. So the network has 2 different native tokens. Think of it like this. First, you've got Quai. This is your store of value, your digital gold. Its supply is designed to get more stable over time, making it good for long-term holding.
And then you've got QI. QI is your day-to-day digital cash. It's designed specifically for transactions, for buying and selling things. And here's where it gets really fascinating. They call Q a decentralized energy dollar. What does that mean? Well, its value isn't backed by a government or a bank. It's tied directly to the real-world cost of the energy that miners use to create it. The logic is, since it always costs a real amount of electricity to mint one Q token, its value is anchored to that real-world commodity cost. The goal is to create something that holds its purchasing power.
So you take this revolutionary tree structure, you combine it with this unique two-token economic model, and you start to realize, okay, their vision here is pretty ambitious.
See, the goal here isn't just to be another fast crypto project for traders. What they're really trying to do is fulfill the original promise of Bitcoin, to build a system that can actually scale to be a global, peer-to-peer monetary system, something completely outside the control of governments and central banks. And don't just take my word for it. One of the co-founders, Dr. K, put it pretty bluntly. He said the launch of Quai's mainnet isn't just a technical achievement. It's meant to be the blueprint for all future blockchains. That's a bold claim. So by tackling this massive trilemma, that impossible choice between speed, security, and decentralization, Quai Network is doing more than just launching some new tech. It's really posing a huge question for all of us. What could the future of global money actually look like? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.